Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. This network is an aggregation of every social media platform known to mankind, streaming in people's vehicles across Charlottesville and Central Virginia, across Virginia through Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it may be. A lot we're going to cover on today's program, including the news from Nelson County, friend of the program, Mary Wolf, news that we've known for some time. Wild Wolf Brewing Company has now sold. What I'd like to do on this show is pay some homage to Mary. Her son Danny certainly deserves some credit here too. And a beer brand that was one of the first to market. It's not often you see female pioneers in craft beer. Mary's been a female pioneer in not only the craft beer space, but I believe the first female executive at AOL. How she made her money, AOL. She is sharp, a risk taker, a visionary, and she understands the concept of building a brand and a business. We will talk Wild Wolf's sale. We will crystal ball who the potential new owners are, and we'll even take it a step further and analyze and assess the best uses from just my perspective and nothing more for Wild Wolf, the vast property in Nelson County, the many structures in Nelson County, and what the area needs. The craft beer space, as competitive as it's ever been, to the point where big brands like Deschutes are pulling out of East Coast Roanoke facilities and planned headquarters in Roanoke because of the competitive nature of the space. I also want to talk Himalayan Fusion, a restaurant in the downtown mall. We'll analyze the specs of Himalayan Fusion's listing. Stu Rifkin has it. And we will ask the question, why are we seeing so many of the brands and restaurants we love hitting the market as their owners, as their entrepreneurs are choosing to pursue other careers and endeavors? We will talk the aggregation of Central Virginia transportation for the benefit of the community. We have a splintered transportation infrastructure in Central Virginia through University Transit, through CAT, Charlottesville Albemarle Transit, through Jaunt. We will crystal ball the possibilities of unifying everything under a regional transportation authority. My suggestion is to brand it the Central Virginia Transportation System and to utilize the economies of scale and the aspects of vertical integration to improve margins, to improve efficiencies associated with routes, to improve compensation for drivers, to improve quality of life for ridership, and to improve digital infrastructure for ridership, drivers, and back-end administrators alike. I also want to talk the Seaville Cannabis Club. The Seaville Cannabis Club has a new location, previously on the second floor of the downtown mall. Matt Long. We have a lot of respect for Matt Long. Someone tag Matt Long, giving this guy some props here. He's gone from a second floor spot that did not have great visibility. Matt, you would agree with that. I've been there myself with you. To the former X Lounge spot. Cannabis is to 2021 and 2022 and 2023 what craft beer was to Charlottesville in 2017, 2016. That topic on the program today. I need to highlight a concern that I'm seeing with parents. My friend group, fentanyl, a deadly drug, unfortunately is penetrating the public school system and its students at an aggressive and prolific clip. Fentanyl is bad, bad, bad news. It's literally in middle schools and in high schools in Albemarle County, the city of Charlottesville, and Central Virginia, and students in the last 18 months, 3 that I know of, that I've been told by teachers who watch this show, have died from overdoses. Students who thought they were in a recreational setting with Percocet or Oxycontin or Adderall, instead with fentanyl and overdoses that are not getting the attention they deserve. And what I mean by that is we need attention for these overdoses so students can be mindful of the risk associated with this damning and deadly drug. I will do my part and raise awareness for it. I got Virginia basketball and football updates that we've been trying to get to, and the Wild West that is Amazon packages being stolen from trains that I promise I will get to you today as well. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Why don't we go to the 2-shot so everyone can see J-Dubs in the house. Wave to your adoring fans that have posters of you in their bedrooms.
Yeah.
Judah Wickhauer, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The lead of the program undoubtedly is the news that has been in the hopper for a little while, and that's Wild Wolf Brewing Company and Mary Wolf selling her facility in Nelson County. First, I want to highlight Mary. I know her fairly well. She is savvy. She is, as I've said, a risk taker. She is the first female executive, was the first female executive in AOL history, American Online. She cashed out of AOL and did extremely well. She then pursued a passion, in part because she saw the craft beer boom before it was happening, and also because her son Danny, a brewmaster himself, wanted a larger footing in craft beer. So Mary Wolf and Danny Wolf launch Wild Wolf Brewing Company on 150 Fun, before it was the 150 Fun that we know of today. Wild Wolf Brewing Company, an eclectic mix of buildings, most known for the blonde honey, on a large Wild Wolf located on a large plot of land in Nelson. As 151 started to boom, we saw Devil's Backbone Brewing Company get purchased by the Anheuser-Busch AB InBev conglomerate global giant. We saw Blue Mountain Brewery boom, Taylor smack booming with that brand. We saw that corridor become an attraction for not only tourists from Central Virginia, Northern Virginia, but across the Mid-Atlantic and the Eastern Seaboard. Now 151, a tremendous tax revenue generator for the Nelson County municipality. Frankly, for Central Virginia in totality, Albemarle County certainly included, as folks look to stay in bed and breakfasts in hotels and Airbnbs in Albemarle because they aren't so prevalent in Nelson, and then they utilize limousine services, transportation services to get to Nelson and enjoy the trail. 150 Fun is a fantastic tourist destination that benefits financially jurisdictions like Nelson, Albemarle, Waynesboro, and the surrounding counties alike. I'm going to close with this. Mary and her son Danny built a good brand. The Blonde Honey, their flagship beer. That restaurant, I've been in the kitchen myself. I've had many meals there. I've toured the facility next to Mary for a couple of hours. Judah, you have as well. Remember the photo video shoot we did? The branding package we did for Mary and Danny at Wild Wolf?
Yeah.
It is something.
Oh, it's a great place. Great area.
Great area, great spot.
Yeah.
As the years have worn on, and as 2011 has turned into 2022, and as 11 years in the restaurant and beer and F&B business, 11 years is like a lifetime for most people in business. Mary and Danny have grown tired. She's tried new things. She had the tasting room in downtown Charlottesville, in the glass building, interestingly enough, where the Charlottesville Cannabis Club. Do you have that photo?
Yep.
Put that on screen. Give me a thumbs up when that's on screen, sir. Please, Director Judah Wickhauer.
Photos up.
Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Mary tried many new things. She tried a tasting room in downtown Charlottesville. We even discussed with Mary and Danny, remember, a potential pilot brewery here in the Macklin building at the home of the current I Love CVille studio. They toured the spot. A pilot brewery here, Mary and Danny Wolf, considered for a brief moment of time before opening the tasting room and the glass building where the Charlottesville Cannabis Club is going to go. 11 years in craft beer and food and beverage is a lifetime. They have sold their facility, their equipment, their grounds. Now, the logical thing to do is to ask ourselves, who are the new buyers? Who's going to benefit? Who's considering? Who should purchase this very nicely located brewing and restaurant facility? To answer this question, we got to ask ourselves first, who are not the buyers? And as we whittle that list down, I think we can strategically analyze who the buyers are. I think it's safe to say that if Anheuser-Busch AB owned Devil's Backbone, if you go to this one, camera over here, for our two-shot. InBev, Anheuser-Busch owned Devil's Backbone. They're not going to open Wild Wolf Brewing Company. They're not going to buy Wild Wolf Brewing Company, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from the Devil's Backbone base camp.
Unless they think they can get a good distribution of Wild Wolf beers, outside of Central Virginia.
I crossed Devil's Backbone immediately off the list. I cross Taylor of Blue Mountain Brewery immediately off the list. Why would Taylor buy something that's literally down the road from him?
Right.
I cross Pro Renata off the list. Doc and his team at Pro Renata are building an epicenter in Crozet. They're focused on Pro Renata Crozet. And frankly, it's too close, Crozet to Wild Wolf. It would cannibalize sales.
It seems to me like any local brewery, if they wanted to expand, would just find space to add more tanks or whatever, rather than trying to buy a space like this.
That's your take?
Yeah.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
But I appreciate that take. I respect that take. A lot of people have said it's Star Hill. I ain't buying it Star Hill. I know why people are saying it's Star Hill. They got deep pockets and money. They expanded to Dairy Market. They're expanding left and right with tasting rooms. But I'm not buying it Star Hill. It's too close to their Crozet location. Your take on the Star Hill, my Star Hill analysis.
Like I said, I don't really. It seems to me like if a local brewer were to look to expand, they would find space that they could use to add tanks rather than taking a well respected property like this. And I mean, would you gut it? That seems wasteful.
You can remodel and rebrand. I don't think it's Star Hill or Pro Renata. It's too close to 150 Fun. I don't think it's Devil's Backbone or Blue Mountain. It makes no sense for them to do that. I don't think Mark Thompson with Brewing Tree has the pockets to do it financially. From a Charlottesville City and Albemarle County standpoint, Hunter Smith, logical player in this, but I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's Hunter Smith and Champion in a matter of moments. I don't think the folks at Decipher Brewing Company have the cash position to do this. I think Decipher beer is damn good, but I don't think they have the cash position to do this.
Yeah, they're too new.
South Street Brewing Company is owned by Taylor and Blue Mountain. It's not the South Street guys because that's Taylor and Blue Mountain. I don't think it's Rockfish. Peter makes damn good beer. But I don't think Peter has the cash position to do this at Rockfish, and I'm hearing he's about to go to the downtown mall. Reason Beer just merged, and by merge, Hunter purchased Reason and is rolling it into the Champion vertically integrated empire. Hunter is aggressive at acquisitions and trying new things. And he's not afraid to shut things down or fail. And a good example of that is the tasting room he did in the Gather workspace in Richmond, which he shut down because the sales weren't there. Hunter is in the expansion model associated with restaurants, and we've seen that with his partnership with Laura Fauner at Siren, the old Shabine location. We saw that with Champion Grill in Stonefield, and we saw that with Champion Ice House, Craig Hartman partnership in Gordonsville. Because Hunter has made such aggressive maneuvers of late, Reason Beer merger, Champion Ice House still relatively new, Siren still extremely new in the old Shabine spot, I'm taking Hunter off the list. In my eyes, that leaves a clear-cut one player who purchased Wild Wolf Brewing Company. And it's the sharp, innovative, well-funded, capitalized, risk-taking team at Three Notch Brewing Company. The reasoning I just outlined and why I think it's a local brand who's made this purchase. Big brands that are out of market are no longer expanding their brand portfolio or their brand awareness by going into other markets. Deschutes explained to us why. At one time, a brand like Deschutes Brewing Company could open up an East Coast facility in Roanoke, and it made sense for them because the space wasn't nearly as saturated. Now consumers, you and I, in our disposable income, we have beer choices on every freaking block in our community. And we, because we love Charlottesville and Central Virginia, are choosing to spend our disposable income with the little guy that's in our community, that's our neighbors, that we see on the soccer fields, on the squash courts, on the downtown mall, and at Fridays after 5, instead of spending our disposable income with the big brand from Deschutes, Oregon, that's trying to open an East Coast facility and localize it, humanize it, and personalize it with some branding. We're too sophisticated. We see through those ploys now. The big brands like Deschutes cannot compete against the local brewer, the local beer brand in our community, where we see the owners, the managers, and the waitstaff, and we call them friends or family. That's why I truly believe the new owners of the Wild Wolf facility on 150 Fun are folks with local ties. And the argument I've just made in the first 27 minutes of this program is reasonable, strategic, and logical. My money is on the well-heeled, visionary team behind Three Notch Brewing Company as the new owners. Think about it from a strategic standpoint. A, Three Notch doesn't own a facility right now. They were in talks at one time with Bill Nichman to purchase property from him in the city of Charlottesville off Preston Avenue. Those talks did not materialize a deal. They have their headquarters in downtown Charlottesville, where they rent from Ludwig Kutner and Alan Kajin in Ix Park. Their beer, brewed by Dave Warwick and his team, is freaking amazing. The Minuteman is my favorite beer of all time. Anyone who watches this show knows how much I love the Minuteman. The Ghost is my wife's favorite beer, and the 40 Mile is in my top 10 and in her top 10. 3 of their beers, Minuteman, Ghost, and 40 Mile, are in my top 15 favorite beers. They make effing great beer. Dave, you freaking do. You have a presence in downtown Charlottesville, and you have a presence on 150 Fun. You have enough distance between the two facilities that you're not cannibalizing incremental revenue and customers. Someone who's going to patronize downtown Charlottesville is not considering, maybe I'm going to go to 151 or downtown Charlottesville. It's too far apart geographically. That being said, they are close enough where you can co-brand both facilities. A tourist on a Friday or a Saturday can do the 150 Fun Trail, the Blue Ridge Ale Trail. A tourist the next day could do the Charlottesville Ale Trail. And if you have a facility in both, you can drive traffic to both locations through branding and marketing collateral. That's called strategy. It's what I do very well. Now, here's the question. Let's take a deeper dive. I'm very confident that it's the Three Notch team that purchased Wild Wolf. We'll take it a step further. What is the best use for the Wild Wolf Brewing Company facility? We've already identified that craft beer in 2022 is beyond competitive and saturated from a space standpoint. So much so that now craft breweries are dabbling in seltzers, including 3-Notch. Seltzers are all the rage. Everyone sees what White Claw is doing. What's the other freaking seltzer that people drink? I don't drink seltzer. I know people do. Seltzer, booze. Find out the other seltzer. It's White Claw, and what's the other damn one? Hard seltzer. Put it in the feed if you know. Truly. Thank you, Kelsey and Richmond. Truly and White Claw. Truly and White Claw are taking dollars away from craft beer. Hard liquor.
Do you really think the people that are drinking hard seltzer were
Yes.
craft beer aficionados?
Absolutely.
You really think
I
that?
do. I know for a fact. Anything, and this is how I know. At one time, people who watch this program know that I was an investor in a sunglass store, luxury sunglass brand. And it was money. I wasn't managing it, just utilizing my money. It was in Ivy Road next to Papa John's in the Ivy Shopping Center. A few doors down, basically where the tennis shop is today. And when we invested those dollars, I was like, the guy who sells $15 sunglasses on the downtown mall is not one of our competitors. Well, I realized that anyone who competes for real estate on somebody's face from a sunglass standpoint was a competitor to even us that was selling $400 and $500 branded sunglasses, Dolce & Gabbana, Ray-Ban, Versace, Maui Jim. The $15 sunglass salesman is a competitor to the $400 sunglass salesman. Anyone who competes for real estate on someone's face. Anyone that slings a glass that's full of booze is a competitor of one another. And seltzer has eroded revenue and taken it from craft beer. I can back that up by saying it's why craft breweries are making seltzers now. They see what Truly and White Claw are doing, and they want a piece of the market. So I'm going to ask this question for you. Tennessee, welcome to the program. South Carolina, welcome to the program. Folks in Buckhead, Georgia, welcome to the program. Folks outside Baltimore, welcome to the program. Folks outside Philadelphia, welcome to the show. Our heat map is hot because we're talking craft beer. Bob Yarborough, thank you with Truly. Jennifer says she's not a seltzer fan. Crozet, Nelson, Afton, Charlottesville, Lynchburg, welcome to the program. Culpeper, hello, welcome to the program. Scott, I saw your text in Virginia Beach. Thank you for watching the program. Brian Combs from Pro Renata, hello, and welcome to the program. Carol Thorpe, welcome to the show. Wesley Wise, hello. Now I'm going to ask you this question. The 3-Notch team of Scott Roth, George Castrodike, Derek Naughton, and Dave Warwick. These are some smart MFers. Smart guys. Smart guys. Would these guys go into a Wild Wolf purchase and say, we're going to duplicate what Wild Wolf is doing, but we're just going to change the beers out? Would they say, this is going to be a 3-Notch facility at Wild Wolf, it's just going to have a rebranding. We're going to have beer, we're going to have a craft kitchen, we're going to do exactly what we're doing at X Park, but we're going to do it at 151. Or would they say, let's try something potentially different? Let's bring a strategy that is omni-experiential to 151, where it's not just selling food and beer, but selling an experience. Just like Amazon has damaged retail, local, by selling the same products that retailers do for less money because they don't have storefront overhead, they have economies of scale and vertical integration. The local retailer is having to do more from a customer offering standpoint than ever before. And the best that I've seen do this is Patty Zeller at Animal Connection. She is with Animal Connection selling self-serve dog washes, grooming, educational perspective on diets with dog food. She is going beyond, and that's called value proposition. She's selling an experience. You come in here for an experience that you cannot ever get from Amazon, and that's why she is freaking crushing it at Animal Connection and X Park. That same omni-experiential strategy is going to eventually have to apply to craft beer because the space is being commoditized more than ever. And what I mean by commoditized more than ever, you have close to 100 different local IPAs that you can pay anywhere from $4 to $10 for in Central Virginia. Every brewery's got an IPA. Every brewery's got a stout. Every brewery's got an ale. Every brewery's got a lager. And when every brewery has a lager, a stout, an IPA, and APA, and in fact, most of them have 3 or 4 different ones on tap that you can try. It's the commoditization of craft beer. Just like the commoditization of coffee, it becomes a price point game. And when it becomes a price point game like that, you have to offer more value proposition for your customers to spend their disposable income. That's why I think this Wild Wolf space is going to be prioritized in ways that we perhaps have not seen from Three Notch in the past. I think you're going to see omni-experiential aspects to this spot that they have not rolled out at other Three Notch tap rooms, craft kitchens, or locations. And I think that omni-experiential strategy is going to include, or it's going to leverage, the vast space that Wild Wolf has. Now let's consider some aspects of what omni-experiential strategy could be for beer or a location that is this vast. I think one of that strategies is undoubtedly going to be tied to live music. Look at what Devil's Backbone has become. Devil's Backbone, Anheuser-Busch, InBev, has become base camp for live music, for festivals, for seafood festivals, for freaking running events, for camping out, for scavenger hunts, for when the weather's good, any kind of event out there. They're utilizing the space to get people out there, and in the process, the trickle-over impact is beer sales. My wife and I last went to Devil's Backbone because we got tickets to a seafood festival there. We were eating seafood and then drinking Devil's Backbone booze. You're going to see live music like we see at Devil's Backbone and like Brian Combs is booking at Pro Renata. You're going to even consider a pivot, if you're Three Notch, into different kind of alcoholic beverages. This is me crystal balling, me just using a businessman's brain. Why spend, in the grand scheme of time and money, millions of dollars duplicating what Wild Wolf did and just do beer, when you could spend the time and resources that are millions of dollars and get into the distillery game? Utilize the space on 150 Fun and make it a headquarters for not just beer, but spirits. Liquor. And before you know it, you have a booze portfolio that is craft beer, NA beer, seltzer, liquor, sales from craft kitchen, food, sales from music. Think about the revenue streams. Craft beer on site, craft beer distro to restaurants, craft beer on shelves in grocery stores and gas stations and other points of sale. Seltzer, similar verticals. Liquor, similar verticals. Food, tickets for live events. You start looking very appealing to private equity or to a big brand buyout. Not saying that's what they want to do. But different revenue verticals like that create stability in a foundation for the future. Millennials and younger. What was the generation below the millennials? Do you remember? We looked that up. It was the Gen Zers, right?
I think so.
Millennials and younger are more mindful of caloric intake than ever before. That's why the seltzer boom is happening. So I'm going to dot the I's and cross the T's here. A, we have to applaud Mary Wolf, a female pioneer in craft beer, for building the Wild Wolf brand. She spent a decade plus building this brand and did a damn good job. You did a damn good job by Danny, your son. You did a damn good job by Nelson County. You did a damn good job by your employees. Impressive work, Mary Wolf. A female pioneer now at American Online and a female pioneer now in craft beer. B, I would bet you some serious money that the Three Notch team is the new owners of Wild Wolf. C, I would bet you the smart dudes at Three Notch are thinking about omni-experiential at Wild Wolf. And that's going to be tied to live events and music and concert venue. D, these guys are smart as all get out. And I would bet you they're considering different revenue verticals at Wild Wolf that are not associated with craft beer. And those revenue verticals, I would bet a lot of money, are associated with spirits and hard liquor, distillery. And lastly, if you're able to do this successfully, the Three Notch brand has become a vertically integrated behemoth that has revenue associated with food, revenue associated with distilling, liquor, revenue associated with craft beer, on-site, restaurant distro, and grocery retail, off-site retail, revenue associated with tap rooms across the Commonwealth. Just had a Va Beach location open. And revenue associated with concerts and live events. That business starts looking freaking bona fide for big brand purchasing them, for private equity getting involved. Let's get to comments. I have 6 states watching the program right now, literally 6 states on the heat map watching the show. Bob Yarborough, who's a saint at Jack Brown's. That means he's had over 1,000 beers there. And a guy who knows craft beer like the Pope knows holy water, Bob Yarborough. He says, remember when Hunter and Champion wanted to start a beer camp? For lack of better description. He's exactly right. Hunter and Champion wanted to open an omni-experiential location in Earlysville in northern Albemarle County. But for lack of better phrase, the NIMBYs, not in my backyards, in Earlysville by the airport, kiboshed that base camp, that omni-experiential location for Hunter Smith and Champion. If memory serves correct, it was a church, or it is a church, that he was going to convert into essentially an adult summer camp for beer and booze. This is from Kelsey, who is watching in Nashville, Tennessee. She's a University of Virginia graduate. So is her husband. She watches the show routinely. Are you an attorney? Am I right that you're an attorney who can work from home, Kels? It's funny, I've never met you in person, but feel like through this show that I know you. She says, we love the Three Notch brand, and we come to Charlottesville, and we're sure to stop by their Ix headquarters. And you're right, I'm drinking a lot less craft beer. My husband's not, and his waist will show it. But I'm drinking a lot less craft beer now, and I'm definitely having more seltzers, Trulies than ever before. To have different options besides just beer at a tasting room or tap room is good for me and my friends who are calorie counting now that our metabolism has slowed down. Love when you watch the show in Nashville. This is a great move for them, dude. Great move for them. This comes from Twitter. We go to where the beer is priced the cheapest to spend our money. It is 100% a commodity now. Thank you, Aman, for that comment. More comments. All right, I need to get to some of these other bits of news on the program, and I will see if I can circle back to these comments. Bob, yes, to answer your question, you are right. Let's talk Himalayan Fusion. We put this on the network. Stu Rifkin has the listing. Another restaurant for sale in Charlottesville. This one, Himalayan Fusion on the downtown mall. Asking price $165,000. Rent is $4,000 per month. There are 4 years left on the lease. Charlie Lewis is the landlord. Stu Rifkin has the listing. Himalayan Fusion is located on the pavilion side of the downtown mall. Someone left this comment about Himalayan Fusion and the $165,000 asking price, the $4,000 per month. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Is it on screen now? A lot of people have talked about the dog and the reflection right there. That's Liza, the I Love CVille mascot. We love her. I don't think she's taking a poo in this photo, is she?
She's shameless. I don't know.
Is she taking, you were there. Is she taking a poo right there?
I don't remember. I was just taking a picture. She may be taking a leak. Who knows?
She's a wonderful dog.
She is.
She's a wonderful, wonderful dog. So this is from Bay Runner 326 on Instagram. $4,000 per month rent, Jerry, is $154 per day to cover rent. with a 6-day work week plus utilities, taxes, staffing, insurance, cost of goods sold, etc., that makes for a lot of takeout before beginning to break even. So here's another thing that's happening, another trend that's happening. Millennials, Gen Zers, what are the generations behind the millennials? Did you look that up?
Yeah, it's...
And let's get a 2-shot over there on screen for you, because I need to get your big, beautiful brain in the mix here. It's Gen Zers. Is it Gen Yers?
I think it goes Boomer, Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, and then I think we decided it was Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha? So it's the restart.
The newest one.
On the alphabet.
Yeah.
So younger millennials, you are the demo before millennial.
Yeah, I'm Gen X.
You're Gen X. I'm millennial. And the millennials are broken up into 2 groups. There's the older millennials, and then there's the younger millennials.
Yeah, there's like Z and Y, or I don't know.
The younger millennials, the Gen Zers, and the Gen Alphas are prioritizing convenience more than ever before. We've identified this before in the restaurant trends. They're looking to have their food on their couch while watching Netflix in the convenience of their own home, as opposed to the white tablecloth, white napkin, fine dining experience. And because of that, you're seeing a lot of restaurateurs, the seasoned ones that don't necessarily want to pivot, exiting the space, leaving the space. On top of that, there's been monumental levels of exhaustion associated with F&B and Omicron and COVID over the last 2.5 years. No space has been hit harder than restaurants, than F&B. It's created a level of exhaustion we've never seen before in a space or an industry that was already effing difficult to do. So that these KPIs are exasperating patience with restaurateurs. That's why you're seeing Iron Poffles hit the market, Himalayan Fusion hit the market, Walter at the Shebeen close, the fabulous Mangionis closing, just to name a few. Downtown Grill, Prime 109. Off the top of my head, Junction has not reopened in Belmont. Junction's fabulous, hasn't reopened. Adam owns that building, still hasn't reopened. He's put all his eggs in the local basket. Across the street. Himalayan Fusion, the latest we've identified, Stu Rifkin, the listing. $165,000 asking price, $4,000 a month rent, 4 years left on the lease. Charlie Lewis, a benevolent landlord. I'm a businessman who offers straightforward perspective on this show, who had an audience of over 253,000 unique IP addresses last year. More this year. We'll beat that number. I'm confident. If I was an entrepreneur looking to get into the restaurant game, I would be shopping these listings. I would be negotiating with the liaisons representing the listings. And I would realize that there is no greater time, at least in my lifetime, that a potential restaurateur entrepreneur, one who's not in the game yet, he or she has more leverage than ever. Leverage with the landlord, leverage with the folks that provide the food, leverage with every aspect of the supply chain except for one. Do you know which one that is? Which aspect of the supply chain does the restaurateur not have the most leverage over?
Food supply?
Labor. Because we have a labor shortage. labor has leverage in F&B because of that shortage. I think the Himalayan Fusion price point is negotiable. Everything's negotiable. And I think you get a very appealing landlord in Charlie Lewis. And I think once Omicron gets behind us, and it's getting behind us, look at the data in New York, one of the epicenters for Omicron. The cases, the numbers are subsiding. I think you're going to have, at the end of Q1 and early Q2, gangbusters, 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 gangbusters. And eventually we're going to have COVID fatigue where people just realize this is something we're going to have to live with.
We already have COVID fatigue.
Endemic. It goes from pandemic to endemic. And it's going to become a mindset that's synonymous with the flu. You are seeing that with the current governor of Virginia. What did he do?
He said no more masks. At least we won't force you to wear masks. Somebody else might, but it's not going to be us.
When the governor, the most powerful official in the Commonwealth, halts the mask mandate, that will have influence. And as these cases become more manageable, and as the weather gets warmer, and as people get even more COVID fatigue, and as people start realizing that this is something we can manage like we've managed the flu, spots like Himalayan Fusion are going to be red hot. And I'm not saying Himalayan Fusion is the choice for what you do if you choose to purchase this location and this business. I would hope to God whoever makes that purchase prioritizes digital infrastructure, takeout, carry out, to go, and or an omni-experiential strategy like I've identified with the Wild Wolf spot that I think 3 Notch is going to do. Because the days of a white tablecloth and a white napkin in fine dining, 3, 4, 5-course meal, $100, $150 a head ticket prices, those days I'm not super bullish about.
How many places, though, were doing that before COVID?
In Charlottesville?
Yeah.
A lot.
Not like half or anything.
I would say a lot were.
There were a fair number, but
What were the first 2 places on the downtown mall that shut down during COVID?
obviously Downtown Grill.
And what was the second one?
I don't. The second
Prime
one?
109.
Okay.
What do those have in common?
Steak.
Steak, price point, fine dining, right?
I mean, Prime 109. It's not like it was an established brand that threw in the towel. Am I wrong? I mean, they hadn't been. How long had they been trying to make something of it?
I'll give you this. They had some things working against them. Specifically, the incredibly high monthly rent.
No doubt.
That was well north of $20K. That's a hell of a lot of steaks you got to sell.
And bad timing to try to do it.
With a competitor that was an institution half a block away. Bad luck, bad timing with that. Not the proprietor's fault. Sometimes it's just a matter of luck. This is an opportunity. You now have, off the top of our heads, spitballing, Jack Shop Kitchen, Greene County, Kilwins, Downtown Mall, $250K asking for Kilwins, Iron Poffles, Water Street, Himalayan Fusion, Downtown Mall, Morsel Compass, Crozet. You had Smoked Barbecue and Crozet change hands, new owners. You saw the rebranding of Citizen Bowl Shop to Lucky Blues. And you saw Siren take over Walter Slosky, who closed down the Shebeen, who's been around for an eternity. And that's just off the top of my head without me even thinking. You saw Moe's Barbecue on Water Street close down, the old Mona Loco spot. And that's just me rattling it off without even putting much thought into it. What am I missing? Scott Aaronworth, Virginia Beach. The first Lampo closed on Monticello. And that building's for sale. That tied to the Belmont Bridge project, undoubtedly. He also says Prime 109 in Virginia Beach. Scott, probably the biggest foodie in Charlottesville, is an Esquire from Virginia Beach. Says Prime 109, the best mashed potatoes ever, and he adds Bashir's on the downtown mall. Scott, you're making us better today. Well done. He retired. He tried to sell that spot. Mm-hmm. Great friend of the show. He sang on the show. Remember?
Yeah. Still working, just
from home.
Just gave up the restaurant business.
Gave up the restaurant gig. There's tremendous opportunity for entrepreneurs pursuing restaurant businesses locally. I would incredibly encourage them to think restaurant as a brand as much as food quality. Today's consumer, the millennial and younger, is incredibly brand conscious. Brand conscious.
Well, then Charlottesville is not the place for them.
Why do you say that? Because of the government stigmas associated with the municipality?
No, we just don't have any brands.
Charlottesville has a hell of a lot of brands.
There are a couple.
What are you talking about?
Like restaurants. If you want brands, I mean, think of things like Denny's, and I'm not saying that everybody
Those
wants
are chains.
Denny's.
There's varying levels of brands. Brand conscious, I mean a brand that builds a business that is committed to the community. Brand conscious, I mean a brand that builds a business that's committed to employee culture, charitable endeavors, omni-experiential events like concerts. Brand conscious, like when you walk in and your recipes are localized, your ingredients are localized, and you know where they're sourced. That's what brand conscious is.
Okay.
Brand conscious in that they're committed to convenience. Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of Charlottesville restaurants have gone the route of local, buy, cook local. They're sourcing their food from local farms and things like that. But I'm just wondering, how do omni-experiential? How do restaurants in Charlottesville put on concerts? How do single restaurants get brand recognition? What's the route to doing that? I mean, Three Notched they've got RVA, they've got now Virginia Beach, they've got what's the other one? They've got brand recognition.
They got Roanoke.
Yeah, Roanoke. They've got some brand
I believe
recognition.
they have Harrisonburg. You guys have Harrisonburg, don't you? Three Notch team? I believe you do.
But a place like, I mean, even a place like Downtown Grill, like that was everybody that liked the fine dining knew about that place. But what's their brand recognition? How are they? You talked about engaging with the populace.
I would say Downtown Grill's demise, and obviously we're not going to get to all these topics again today, and that's fine. That's fine. Okay, I got a 1:45 showing for office space that we own here that I got to get to. So we'll spend 8 or 9 minutes on this topic. I would say Downtown Grill's demise, and Scott in Virginia Beach says Fellini's closed, Nosh on Water Street closed. He also asked,
that place has been revolving door
of restaurants.
Of restaurants.
Yeah, York Place. I agree. He also said Little John's closed on the UVA corner. That was a brand. Mm-hmm. He also says Michael's Bistro. Michael's Bistro on the UVA corner closed.
Has that become something else?
I don't think Michael's Bistro has.
So that spot is open?
Yeah. Bo last owned it. Stockton, friend of the program, Michael's Bistro. I would say the what led to the demise of the Downtown Grill was A, undoubtedly COVID. B, obscenely high rents. The space was freaking ginormous. When you have that much square feet, rents are going to be astronomical. Mm. Next, steak like Downtown Grill, the a la carte items that Downtown Grill had on its menu, they didn't carry well or transition well or translate well to the COVID pivot of order out and take home. Food of that quality does not carry well or transition well to go. And being straightforward, Downtown Grill wasn't willing to pivot and try new things. They weren't doing events. They didn't do to go. They had ridiculous overhead associated with rent. They had a huge labor associated with a space of that magnitude. They were one of the first to shut down. Wild Wing Cafe. Similar, right? Massive rents, massive labor. Brand conscious means humanizing, localizing, and personalizing the brand so it stands out from competitors and is not seen as a commodity, but is seen more as a resource, as seen more as a community partner. A business in today's competitive climate, it's paramount that it differentiates itself from commodity to community partner. And how you do that is brand and message. And I think the best ones are the ones surviving. Remember when Wilson Ritchie, whiskey jar, let's take the whiskey jar, Wilson Ritchie at the whiskey jar. Remember early COVID? You know what that dude was doing? He took his kitchen staff. Remember what he was doing?
Wasn't he doing car washes?
Yeah. He took his back of the house staff, realized that the back of the house...
They need to work, they need to make money.
Needed to work and needed to make money. So he set up a freaking car wash in the back of the whiskey jar. He was setting up booze to go. Like their old fashions, I forget which the drink it was, but booze to go. He did a branding strategic partnership with Larceny, where there was a whiskey jar bourbon. And those types of endeavors have allowed him to come out, he effing earned it. Admire you, Wilson Ritchie, admire you. But those type of endeavors earned him the right to come out of this hellhole we call COVID and have more market share than when we entered COVID. What's going on the brain over there?
I'm just, I don't disagree with you. I think, not all these places are correlated. Certainly COVID-19 had a enormous effect on all of these places, but they all had, different reasons for stopping when they did or continuing for as long as they did. To say that they all quit because it was no longer profitable is, I think something...
That is why restaurants quit, is because they can't make money. That's why all businesses close.
Okay.
I'm just being straightforward here. You don't shut down a business if it's making money. You sell it, or you do a strategic joint venture with a key member of the business and take a percentage every month of sales. You shut down a business if it's not cash flow positive.
Okay.
This in the comment sections from Lauren. Restaurants serving local wines, a way to support community. Restaurants creating local hot sauces. Vitae Spirits was doing hand sanitizer at its distillery, making hand sanitizer. Scott says Downtown Grill would not pivot, and Luce is crushing it, especially dollar per square foot. A pasta takeout window. Have you guys tried Luce? It's banging. All right, I have to get a couple of items off the list here because I've had these light items on the headlines for now 3 days, but we've been so red hot with topics, we haven't gotten to them. I covered Himalayan fusion. I'm going to spend 60 seconds on this topic. It's damn time to create a regional transportation authority that aggregates all the public transportation in the community. I'm talking CAT, I'm talking Jaunt, I'm talking University Transit Service. Hell, you could even aggregate the freaking school buses under this transportation authority. You have one brand, call it the Central Virginia Transportation System, with the same back-end infrastructure, same back-end human resources, the same robust digital infrastructure for tracking routes and when the buses will arrive. And you do that for the betterment of quality of life for ridership. Having these splintered transportation systems is creating longer routes and frustration among ridership. It's creating forcing municipalities to negotiate against each other for drivers from a pricing and compensation standpoint. Put it all under one brand, under one umbrella, and do it for the betterment of drivers, administration, and most importantly, ridership. And call it the Central Virginia Transportation System. In fact, with my run for Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, I'm going to freaking prioritize that even more. Because that's just common sense, and that is a businessman taking a businessman's perspective and bringing it to government. Central Virginia Cannabis Club has a new location. Judah Wickhauer, our fabulous director, can you put that on screen? The old X Lounge spot, Matt Long, goes from the second floor on the downtown mall by Hamilton's to the old X Lounge spot. Look at the screen. This is the new home to the Seaville Cannabis Club. Bravo, Matt Long, for trying something. Bravo. Cannabis is to 2022 what craft beer was to 2016. I'll say it again. Cannabis is to 2022 in Central Virginia what craft beer was to Central Virginia in 2016. I am very concerned of this trend I'm seeing with fentanyl with our youth in this community. The rise of fentanyl in this community is a damning, disturbing, demoralizing, depressing, and disgusting trend. Parents, get active in what your kids are doing on social media. Your children are being hoaxed and tricked by drug dealers who are saying it's Percocet, Oxycontin, and Adderall, not saying those pills are okay, because they're certainly not for children, and instead it's fentanyl. And this is deadly. And 3 children over the last 18 months have died from fentanyl overdoses in school systems locally. And the school systems are not talking about it, and I'm tired of that. Let's bring attention to this disturbing trend. Lastly, you're seeing a trend of bandits jumping trains on the West Coast, stealing packages, Amazon packages from trains, just like we saw in the Wild West of horseback riding bandits stealing money from moving trains. This literally is happening on the West Coast. And to close, Thompson, the do-every football player on the UVA football team, is returning for a 5th year. And Kyle Guy has now signed a 2-way contract with the Miami Heat. That's the I Love CVille Show on a Wednesday, the 19th of January. Judah Wickhauer and Jerry Miller, we brought it for you today. Brought it for you today.